Hello and welcome to Daily Records. I am Tommy Burton, and today's Daily Record is the Kinks and their album Lola versus Powerman and the Moneygoround Part 1. Usually just called Lola versus Powerman, or some people just say Lola. By the Kinks, released on November 27th, 1970. Interesting cover. Very sort of plain, but the four members of the band kind of in four parts there with this sort of kind of drone thing, simple blue, black with that blue. It's a gatefold. This was their 8th album. Of course, a lot of people know the Kinks, British invasion band. It was a concept album, like a lot of what Ray Davies, the primary writer for the Kinks, was doing. It's basically this sort of satire about the music industry. There's songs about publishers, unions, the press, accountants, business managers, life on the road. There's just a whole lot of subject matter here, and it's pretty widely varied. Because of that, I think it makes the album a little bit probably less focused than other things, but song for song, it really is pretty solid listening. I've got mine on the reprise, just to show you that label. This was kind of a weird period for the Kinks. They were sort of coming back into American audiences. Now, Americans were really, the Kinks were one of those British invasion bands that never quite was on the same level as obviously the Beatles and the Who and bands like that. They were very British, and I think because their subject matter and just the things they sang about were very British. Maybe some of my UK viewers can comment down below about it. But this album was a big success for them, both critically and commercially. It did reach the top 40 in America, and it kind of brought them back into the public eye, at least as far as United States audiences were concerned. And a lot of it was driven by the hit single, Lola, which gets a lot of radio airplay and still does. And the other hit single from this album, 8 Man, which was also a hit in the U.S. as well as 8 Man was a big hit in the U.K. Now, sort of the background of this, there was a band on the Kinks by the American Federation of Musicians. It banned them from performing in America, and it had been in force since 1965. Another reason I think the Kinks' success over here was kind of thwarted, and this band finally came off in 1969, and so naturally the first thing they did was arrange a tour of the United States. But some guys in the band got sick, and so there were just a few dates played, and then there was a follow-up tour. It was planned in 1970, and it had sort of similar results, and so they only played at a few venues. It was just a really mess all together. So this in between time allowed Ray Davies to write, and he wrote the single Lola. And they came back to Morgan Studios in England to begin work on the album. This was an independent studio. It was a little bit of a change for them. And they would record quite a few records there, even through preservation. And then that's when they finally went into their own studio, Conk, which a lot of Kinks fans know quite a bit about. But some of the early stuff that they were recording was Lola. There's a song, Powerman, Got to Be Free. These were long sessions, and the recording had gone on for quite a while. And so during these long sessions, one of the most unique things, and a lot of people know the song Lola, and there was this sort of clangy guitar song sound at the beginning of it. And Ray Davies remembers he was talking about going into a music store when they were about to make the song, and he wanted to get this really, really great guitar sound, and he wanted a Martin guitar. But they had this old dobro, this resonator guitar. It was actually a National Steel, and he bought it pretty cheap, and he put the Martin and that dobro together, and it got this really clangy sound. It was the combination of the Martin and that dobro with a little bit of studio compression. And that National Steel would play quite an important role on several Kinks projects after that fact. After Lola, so it was kind of the beginning of that. It was a pretty well received album. It established Ray Davies as one of the better rock and roll music writers. He was always a writer's writer or a musician's writer. And Rolling Stone magazine, for what it's worth, actually said that this was the best Kinks album yet. Maybe it's a little bit out there, but it really was a great record. Just maybe not as solid as some other things. I can think of some other Kinks albums that are definitely better than this one. But it's, the singles are fantastic, and the songs are really, really good. And so, it's a mixed affair, but as an album to listen to, it's pleasant enough and it works. And so that's why today's Daily Record is Kinks, Lola, and Powerman, or Lola versus Powerman, and the Moneygoround Part 1. We're still waiting for Part 2, Ray, so whenever you get ready, you can go ahead and give that to us. Like, comment, share, subscribe, follow me on Instagram and Twitter. It's TommyBurton75. In the meantime, I will see you all again tomorrow with another Daily Record.